So I heartfully welcome you all for today's session, which is importance of soft skills in the life of teachers. So as you all know, we have been discussing about life skills and its importance for students in the school, isn't it? We have been attending many CBSE workshops and several personal workshops as well. But today, in this 21st century, there are few skills which are very much mandatory for every employee and in whichever field you are. And these skills are called as soft skills. Though we are doing a specific train the trainer workshop for the people who want to become soft skill trainers. So we have thought after rigorous, brainstorming, we have thought that unfortunately, most of the teachers are not taught about soft skills in their B.Ed and M.Ed. Unfortunately, it is not even they are not even trained as to how to face and solve the day-to-day challenges that arise in their life. So today's session is all about those soft skills which are needed for teachers in their life for their better work, what do we say, opportunities and better workplace, what do we say, experiences. So for this, I would like to welcome our resource person, Mrs. Meenu Kaur Chawla, who is based in, what do we say, like Jhansi. She works for Allen House Public School as a senior academic coordinator as well as academic coordinator for the foundation stage. So the stage is all yours, Mrs. Meenu Kaur Chawla. Yeah, we are eagerly waiting to listen to you.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. So, good evening. A very, very heartfelt good evening to one and all present here, right? So, as sir has already briefed about, like today's session is going to be all about what are the soft skills. I mean, this is a generic workshop which will include what are soft skills and what is the importance of soft skill in life of us teachers, right? So, let us quickly begin the session without wasting any time. There is a quick activity for all of you. I want all of you to take a paper. You can do either it on a paper or in the chat box. I request all of you to write down 5 hopes which you have for yourself and 2 fears in just 1 minute. And your time starts now. I would request each one of you to please quickly write down the 5 hopes which you keep for yourself and 2 fears. You have both the ways to answer, either in the chat box or on the paper, and then you all can read later. Okay, so your time stops now. So I would request each one of you, good evening, Shalini ma'am, to be best teacher, to become best orator, to be the best leader. Wonderful. Here I get one answer from Shalini ma'am. Okay. Can I get some more answers? Becoming a better version of myself. Sudhanshu, Mr. Sudhanshu writes. Okay. Okay. Can I get some more answers? Okay. My hope, self-confidence. Pavitra is writing self-confidence, ready to adopt, ready to learn new things, sharing the information I learned with my colleagues, and developing myself. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. Someone is named iPhone. Can I know who's this? Hope to keep going, hope to not losing confidence, hope to learn from mistake, hope to become my best self each day. Wonderful. Can you please write your name, Jezzy? Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So here, as I'm getting answers, And as so many of you have answered, but there are only a few who could count till 5, right? I mean, there are only a few people around who have been able to answer what are the 5 hopes which they have from themselves, right? Okay, innovation, creative, and empathy. Wonderful, Lata ma'am. Fine. Was it so difficult for us to just think about 5 hopes from us? Was it that difficult a task? Please answer. Was it that difficult a task? Integrity, okay. Keep updating with communication and other soft skills. No, it wasn't that difficult for all of us, but still, you know, we took time and some of them ended with just 1 hope. Now, when I talk about why did I even make a mention of what are my hopes and my fears? The intention behind telling you people to note down your, okay, misunderstanding, okay, that is your fear. Yes. So why did I make a mention of all this? Because the field in which we are, here it is really difficult for us to find out what are my hopes. Most of us sitting over here are associated with some or the other organization. So when we come to distill the process of hopes and fears, then most of the hopes and fears are not for us. They are not our personal hopes and fears, rather hopes and fears related either to our organization or the work with which we are into. So in today's session, I'll be trying to help you in many or multiple ways where you can keep your, see, we all have a personality. I am a personality. Okay, Pavitra, my fear of death, fear of flying on an aeroplane. Okay. If my work is not interesting, my fear is I'll be happy to do my job, to easily get hurt when others hurt me without any reason. So my mood will be bad. Yes, definitely. I mean, these all are the, and if you read your answers by yourself, you'll be getting to know that it's not our personal. So at some point, we are able to find out, personal fear, but most of the time, the fears are work related. The hopes are also organization related. So in today's workshop, we'll try to find out what can be done so that we carve our individual identity. I was talking about the word called identity. And then, it comes, it's a very deep topic if I come to identity, if I come to ego or whatever. But right now, we'll be just trying to find out how and till which intensity do we identify ourselves with our organizations with which we are working for, right? So without wasting much time, let's move ahead to find out what else can we can we work in ourselves so that we create that individual identity. Now, before I start into the discussion or into this explanation, what is the difference between a skill and let's call it as a degree? What is the difference between these two? Can anyone answer, please? There are 2 things like hard skills and soft skills. What are the hard skills? What are the hard skills? Okay, I think I have some answers over here. What are the hard skills? Skill is hand-on experience. Okay. Okay. Teaching. Okay. Skill required for job. Okay. So in a very simple way, in the most simple way, if we can define it as like hard skills can be called as all the degrees and the learnings which we earn, right? And the soft skills are the necessary, you can call it as these are the necessary condiments which are required for making your thing as presentable as it can be, right? So let's move to the next slide and find out for ourselves, find out. Nisha ma'am, I request you to please mute yourself. Nisha ma'am, can we move to the next slide, please? Yes. Sir, if you can mute the participants for a while. Sir,
Yes, Meenu ma'am, you unmute yourself,
sorry.
ma'am. I have muted
I did
everyone.
it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can we move to the next slide, please, sir?
Sure.
Here is a small video. Let's watch this video.
देखा इसीलिए वॉविलूप इसका हीट रिलीफ फॉर्मूला विद डाइक्लोफेनाक एंड लिंसीड ऑयल स्किन पे रहे सॉफ्ट, दर्द मिटाए फास्ट। मैंने देखा वॉविलूप दर्द को करे चुप।
The Pencil's Tale. Once upon a time, an old pencil maker took his newest pencil aside just before he was about to pack him into a box. Imagining the little fellow as a person, he recalled a few things about the pencil. "There are 5 things you need to know," he said to his pencil. "Before I send you out into the world, always remember these 5 things. Never forget them, and you will become the best pencil you can be." The first thing is to remember that you will be able to do many great things, but only if you put yourself in someone else's hands. From time to time, you will experience a painful sharpening, but remember that this will make you a better pencil. Also, keep in mind that you will be able to correct any mistakes you might make along the way. And the most important part of you is what's on the inside. And remember this as well. Upon every surface that you are used, you must leave your mark. No matter what else happens, you must continue to write. It seemed the pencil listened to him and promised he would remember these 5 things so that he could live his life with heart and purpose. You see, in life, in your life, put yourself in someone else's hand. Embrace challenges for growth. Learn from mistakes, value inner qualities, and leave a positive mark on the world. And you too can become the best pencil there is. This was The Pencil's Tale, and this is Dare to Do Motivation. Thank you so much for watching, and stay blessed.
Yes. So we saw a very short video. I would want any one of you to at least pick up 3 to 4 words which you picked from this entire video. Just 3 to 4 words, which we think are the much needed things in our profession. Can anyone share, please? Answer, please. I'd really appreciate if you people answer. Okay. Have to leave our impression, leave a mark, sharpness of mind. Okay. Okay. Wonderful. See, there was an important aspect going on. There was a speaker and then there was a listener. Correct your mistake. Wonderful. Communication. Yes. Communication and empathy. There was a speaker and then there was a listener, right? Then it is, if you have to change yourselves or if you have to leave a mark or your impact on the world, all we need is to evolve into the process, right? To evolve during the process and to evolve for the process and to evolve for what we want to make of ourselves. So let's move ahead towards few elements which we'll be discussing under the term soft skill: time management, inner quality, Okay. Okay. So can we move to the next slide, please? So agendas of the today's webinar are understanding importance of communication, understanding importance of listening, redefining leadership, team building, and adaptability. We will be talking about the outlines of this program. The detailed program, as sir has already told you, the detailed program on soft skill is an intense program which cannot be covered in 1 or 2 days. It's the organization, SNTTC organization, which offers the courses on soft skill. And remember, it's a time-taking process. So today we'll be discussing how can learning this course be beneficial for all of us. So yes, communication process. If you see this picture, there is a speaker and then there is a listener, because this is a very simple term. When we say something, right? Suppose if I'm talking to someone, there is a code. We say reading between the lines. Most of the time we people do this. When we are communicating with someone, sometimes our communication is not very clear. We just tend to convey the meaning in a hidden way that makes the listener not come to the decoding process properly. If you can see, here are 2 green pictures which say noise and noise. Now, I am not talking about this literal noise around us. Let us understand this. See, there are always 2 things going on in our body and in our mind. One is voice, the other is noise. Now, what do I mean by noise? Noise is everyone else's opinion about me. Everyone else's belief about me. You can do this, you cannot do this, and this is not for you, this is for you, you should be trying this. All these are the noises, wherein there is a tiny voice inside me which is continuously telling me you are not made for this, go and do this. But most of the time, you know what happened? This communication process which is not clear, how do the confusion begin? The confusion begins when the speaker is not able to deliver the message which he or she wants to convey. The fault is at the speaker's level also, and the fault is at the listener's level also. Right now, I'm just talking about the fault at our level. If I'm the speaker right now, if I will not be able to convey what I want to convey properly, definitely there is going to be a great confusion in your mind. So what my attempt should be? My attempt should be not to speak in the code language, or even if I'm trying to speak in a little complicated language, I should be impressive enough to make you people decode that, right? So the very first skill which comes under soft skill is sharpening your communication skills. When we say sharpening about our communication skills, why is it even necessary for teachers? We'll find it in the next slide. So next slide, please. Now, communication and its importance. At the first place, well-designed and planned instructions. Let us talk about the very basic example. We give question paper to our students, and many times it happens, the children call us again and again. Ma'am, I was not able to understand this question. Ma'am, can you please re-explain this? Ma'am, what do I have to write in this? Do I have to write a long answer? Do I have to write a short example? Do I have to give example? All these are the questions which children are, which children come forward with. I am not saying that we are completely wrong, but yes, there is some level of disturbance at our level that we have not been able to convey our instructions properly. So the very first element, why do we need to improve our communication skill, is so that the instructions which we are giving should be planned and are well designed. Then second, instructions that offer sufficient opportunities. Now, when I say sufficient opportunities, see, I read a quote somewhere, and it was, most of the time people miss opportunities because they come dressed up as they come dressed up as work, and they put up as whole. Now, this is what happens with children. Whenever we are telling them something related to their work, related to their behavior, related to anything which we feel, okay, if this child does this, he or she can excel, we are not able to convey the opportunities hidden in it. So if I am talking to someone I should be capable enough to not openly disclose it, but yes, to make the person understand that everything, every task, every instruction coming ahead to that person has a hidden opportunity in it, and you can pick whatever you feel like is made for you. Then knowing when to put up a close-ended and an open-ended question, very, very important point when we are dwelling in communication. Most of the time, we fail to express just because we don't understand when do we have to ask a close-ended and when do we have to ask an open-ended question. Now, what are these? Because we all are teachers, we know this. Close-ended questions are those questions which we know have a limited response, and they are like yes, no, maybe, or probably the answer, which cannot be replaced with any other set of words, where there is no more space for us to debate or to discuss or to delve into any kind of interaction. Wherein open-ended questions are those questions which give us enough opportunity for at the both end. If I'm asking a question, the other person is getting sufficient, opportunity to speak, to express his or her idea. So depending on the situation, when do I need to put up a close-ended question and when do I need to put up an open-ended question is one of the remarkable or one of the significant step or for when we are dwelling into communication. And then listening to others. Now, why is listening even important? See, most of the time when we are into interaction, we are not interacting with an intent to understand the other person. We just have one intent. I have to answer this person. So that is the reason most of the time we land up reacting and not responding, right? If we engage ourselves into listening, then the scene will be, we would be responding rather than reacting. So this is in a nutshell, all about why you need communication skills to be, leaving a remarkable impact on the people. Next slide, please, sir. Now, why to listen? I've tried to, make an acronym of the word listen. Why? Let us understand. L, letting, I, information, S, seep, T, tap, E, enlighten, and N, nurture you. But do we really think when we are engaged in listening, are we actually doing this? No. Most of the time, we do passive listening. We pick up only the chunks which are either of our benefit or the chunks which with which we we want to answer the other person. No, I did not mean this. No, this is in the way, that is in the way. So more of active listening. When a speaker is speaking, the listener is supposed to be engaged in an active listening. Most of the time it happens, the children come to us and we are busy either with our attendance register or scrolling something in phone or typing a message in phone. That time, just think, just connect. Are we letting that information seep, tap, enlighten, and nurture us? No. Most of the time when we hear at the surface level, we heard the child complaining. Understand this. Let us understand this as the point of the view of a parent and a teacher as well. A child comes to me and a teacher comes to me and says, ma'am, this child has spoken to me very badly. I don't know. I did not say much to that child, but still he is the child who's like very disobedient and spoke to me like that. Now, if I am focusing only on tone of that child, I would be focusing only on the tone, only on the reflection of the tone. Is the tone angry? Is the tone full of ego? Is the tone full of superiority? So when I'm involved into passive listening, my focus will be only and only on that tone, on that tonal quality. But the minute I engage myself in active listening, I will be able to understand what is the emotion behind this tone. Whenever you are correcting your children in the class, or whenever you come across such children, please try to understand, please try to identify the emotion behind that tone. Only then we'll be able to engage in active listening. Otherwise, we'll land up in passive listening only. So the second thing which soft skill helps us in, that is the listening skill, the second component. And how does it help? It helps us in engaging. By the time we are not able to understand, we are not able to decode, we won't be able to find out a solution to the problem. And most of the time, classroom disturbances happen because of this only. Next slide, please, sir. Now, what is that first thing which comes to your mind when you look at this picture? What is that first thing which comes to your mind? Excuse me for my sore throat today. What's that first image which comes to your, which is that first thought which comes to your mind? Okay, directed improvement. Okay.
Wrong leadership.
Wrong leadership. Okay. And leader or boss. Okay. Rat race.
Blindly following somebody. Blindly
Yes.
following somebody.
Pressure. Okay. So this is a slide which, or this is the picture which speaks a lot in itself. If we see, there is a person who's just into the mode of giving command, right? There is a difference between a leader and a boss, right? So the very, the third element of, or the third factor which comes under soft skill is leadership. What kind of a leader are you? Are you a one who's just commanding and telling the team members to do the work? Or are you an empathetic person who is able to relate with what is going on with my team, right? When you're able to engage, and it all starts with communication. When you communicate with your team members with love, compassion, and kindness, when you listen to them, when you just try to identify the tone behind the, the emotion behind their tone, only then you get down from the post of boss and you become a leader. You know, there is a very good saying, a leader knows when to stand in the front, when to take the back seat, and when to stand beside the team and just look out, or to, find out your team growing and progressing. So being the leaders, we have to identify when does what is the situation which is calling me. Do I have to take the front seat? Do I have to take the back seat? I have to be just there with my team, assuring them I'm at your back, or do I need to stand just beside and watching silently, letting my team members do whatever they want? You know, most of the time, the leaders, they are into that zone where they end the creativity, where they end the individuality of the people just by imposing ideas. And that's the time when, the skill inside us starts dying. That creativity inside us starts, slowly vanishing. See, again, my intention is not, I'm not saying this, that do not do hand holding, but do that invisible hand holding. A mentor, a leader should know when I have to do an active and a visible hand holding, and when do I have to engage in invisible hand holding. The very fine line between being a teacher and a mentor. When we are moving ahead to the post of mentor, we should be very well aware of when do I leave the hands. Just, your presence, your reassuring presence is more than sufficient for developing more leaders. Most of the time, we work under the leaders who live in constant fear. Oh my God, what if someone else stands and takes my position? How will I be able to? What will I be doing at that time? So this is the picture which kind of shows that. Now, this kind of personality, what does it lead to? It leads people living in constant pressure. It leads people believing that they don't know anything. It makes people believe that we always need a hand holding. It leaves people in finishing their individual identity. It leaves people putting them into the identity crisis. No matter my team members may have won so many, trophies, so many degrees, so many things, but because that they don't know anything. Yes, all should follow this path without knowing our potential. Yes. Why? Because they want, okay, I have taken the lead. Now you follow me blindly. So this is what the soft skill is all about. It changes the narrative of being a leader. It talks about that time is not of a boss, or time is not about, always commanding, always anchoring your team. It is like anchoring. It is providing them the support. You have to become their harness. Not, I mean, and what does a harness do? A harness knows when do I have to, pull back, and when do I have to leave the person free? So basically, all we need is, rather than becoming a chain, we need to change our prospect from being a chain to being that of a harness. And how can we do that? By learning what is leadership, how many types of leaderships are there, and what does a good leadership lead to? Yes, yes, ma'am. So next slide, please. Now, let us watch another video.
Okay, come on, everyone, we're behind schedule. You know what's gotta be done. Move it, move it, move it. Hey, you there, pick up the pace. You're falling behind. 27 Come on, let's go. Everyone, pull together. We got us a rescue on our hands. You there. Here we go.
Yes. So we saw a video. Can anyone tell me, like, what exactly did you focus on? What is that takeaway? Teamwork and good leadership. Okay. Leaders lead to achieving your goal. Wonderful. Wonderful. Teamwork. Okay. Together we can win. Yes. Teamwork makes the dream work. Yes. Leadership. Okay. Okay.
Power of
Teamwork
right.
helps us,
The power
Sorry,
of
teamwork helps
right.
us to overcome the crisis.
Sorry, the voice was muffled. Can
Teamwork,
you-
teamwork helps us to overcome the crisis
Yes,
we face.
exactly. There are so many wonderful answers which I'm getting in the chat box. So now see, the very first thing is we all are talking about it's a team building, right? But for what? Team building is not only the thing required. We should all have a common goal to be achieved, and we all should be, somewhere on the same page. Team building, one of the most important elements which makes a team successful, cannot be just by bringing people together. All the people have to be brought up on the same page. And does this not happen in our classroom or even in the teams with which we are working? Many times we come across people who have absolutely different temperament. They all are on separate pages. They won't be ready to come in alignment with what we want them to. So in that case, everything we have been talking about, we talked about speaking skills, we talked about listening skills, we talked about leadership type, and now we are moving to teamwork. So if I have to build a strong team, I have to identify, right? The team cannot be built without doing an important task, which is SWOT analysis. I hope all of you are aware of this. I am still writing it, the word in the chat box. So this SWOT is the analysis which we do. Like I am working as a coordinator, and whenever I have to give a task to my team, I will just not go and burden someone else. Okay, you do this or you do that. First thing first, I need to identify what is the strength of that person whom I'm trying to give that work. Is that person really capable enough to take this responsibility? Then if not, then if the person has a strength, then the person has a weakness for the same thing as well. So by the time I do not do a proper SWOT analysis, I mean, I'm not talking about me, but I'm talking about all of us who are sitting over here. And the SWOT analysis is not the thing which has to be done with your teammates only. This is a wonderful exercise to be practiced with your children as well. So, I mean, this is something which helps bringing the page, which helps bringing the people on the same page. Slowly, we can change the mindset of the people. And here also, good communication skill, identifying, see, I cannot resist myself without making a mention of this. We all have an ego. And ego is, I'm not talking that ego is bad or something. There are different kinds of ego. See, there are basically 3 egos which rule our behavior. The parent ego, then it's the child ego, and then it's the adult ego, right? So whenever we dwell into communication with someone else, I have to identify my ego ka tone, as well as I have to identify the tone of the ego the person is answering me. Suppose I started communication with one of my team members who is too rigid to accept the changes which I want him or her to do, right? Now, if I adopt this parent ego, I will be authoritative in my commands. I will be demanding in my tone. I will be more of assertive. Yes, you have to do this. There is no option, but you have to do this. If my tone is becoming parent ego tone, and the other person goes into child ego, we can, and the child ego means what? The other person is constantly replying, no, I will not do this. I will do it tomorrow. I cannot change myself. It is tough for me. I cannot do this. So this is what this tone is, not his, but this is the child ego which has taken the driver's seat in him or her. That's the tone which is answering. Now, the safest and the most promising and the most productive tone this time is to be brought, I mean, even the speaker and the listener, they both should be on adult ego wala tone. So what do I have to do for bringing the speaker and the listener to on that same page? Some transformation I will do in the way I'm speaking, and some transformation I would expect the other person to bring in. And trust me on this, being leaders, when we change the tone of our ego, when we shift from being a parent ego talker or a child ego talker to the adult ego talker, the change starts happening there, right? So this again becomes teamwork is impossible without bringing the people on the same page, without making them
Sorry for the
realize.
interruption. Dear participants, the meeting is going to end in 1 minute. Kindly join the session again with the same link, because the session is not over yet. We have a lot more learning that is going to happen.
Yes. So it is first is like, as I was talking about, I have to bring my teammates to the same page. I cannot drill into someone's mind and tell him or her to do what I want to do, right? So this is a slow process, and it starts the minute you start dwelling into interaction. I hope till here everything is